does that.
Hi, Mike.
Sorry, guys.
So has Tua been ruled out for Sunday against Minnesota?
Tua, right now, I'm not even really thinking about his timeline. As I said before, we're just trying to get him as healthy as possible. We're pretty much in a 12 to 24 hour reoccurring evaluation process, and he's doing well. He was here today, but he has not he's not ready to take the step to do some football stuff yet. So that will be talk to me in every 12 to 24 hours.
Where's Teddy at? Is he still in concussion protocol?
Teddy, he had no symptoms today. He had no symptoms yesterday, but per the rule change, he's being treated as though he has a concussion, and so he's in the subsequent protocol.
Coach, this week you played the Vikings as mentioned before, and the names that come to mind include Adrian Peterson, Randy Moss, Dante Culpepper, Chris Carter, and the late Hall of Fame coach Dennis Green. I know you spent some time early in your coaching career as a running backs coach with him with the in the UFL. What was that experience like, and what are some things that you keep with you today that you learned from them?
Oh, that was a very impactful experience. Specifically with Coach Denny Green, because he was a unique spirited leader. So it was he was very outside the box. So it left a big impression on me, just how he saw things for what they were, how he didn't try to follow the path of least resistance, nor did he really concern himself with what others were doing. You know, he would tell me stories about how when he got to Minnesota, he specifically altered the offense to a digit system that was foreign to him, because all the he wanted to have something unique and different, competitive advantage against all the Coach Walsh disciples that were coming from that tree. So all of those things were very impactful. He was such a good human being, and that will forever last with me.
Mike, a couple of offensive line questions. Teron Armstead, what are you hearing, and is he back in South Florida? And then Austin Jackson.
He's back in South Florida. I think the visit went well, and the one thing I've learned with Teron is I can trust him as much as I've ever trusted any player. So I know one thing: he will do whatever it takes to play Sunday. And the one thing that myself, the coaching staff, and his teammates know is if he's not able to play, it's because he's physically unable to play. So trust in that process, and excited that he's taken a step to get that thing healthy. And then what was the Austin Jackson? The plan is to hopefully we plan and hope to see him practice this week in a limited role, but he's done a great job getting himself back so that we could even consider that this week.
Mike, in the past hour or so, we've seen a couple of videos from some of the local TV stations showing Bridgewater after the safety. And in those videos, at least from what we could see from those angles, we did not see him stumble. What have you been able to see on video so far? Have you seen anything that indicates a stumble or doesn't indicate any stumble whatsoever?
No, I mean, I don't really concern myself with all of that, just because I was there at the game. I was watching him intently. It was the first offensive play of the game, and I didn't see him stumble, but I'm also not really in the business of grading and coaching spotters. The rules in place for player safety, and I'm all about that. Honestly, so whether he stumbled or not, the rules are the rules. And my only takeaway from the whole process was really my personal relationship with Teddy, and Teddy was very prepared to play that game, and he put a lot into it, and he just I was excited to see him play, and my heart hurt that he was unable to execute something he was very prepared for, and his teammates were excited to see him play. So,
can you quantify, or sorry, were you going to follow up?
Yeah, just real quick, regarding Teddy, given the area that he's in now where he's not showing symptoms, but he's in the protocol, what would be the soonest that he could possibly participate in practice, and how reluctant would you be to play a quarterback if he hadn't practiced the previous week?
Well, as far as the protocol, that's for good reason. The coaches aren't involved in that. So I know in a perfect world where there's absolutely no setbacks with anything. Again, this is kind of uncharted territory for us. The soonest that you can be on the field in a limited capacity, non-contact, would be Thursday. However, I have, I'm not going to try to guess if that's going to come true or not. This is, again, I just do the best with the situation given and try not to spend my time worrying about things that I can't control as best I can.
Teddy only has a couple limited practices leading up to the game. Just based on his experience, would you feel comfortable having him play in the game on Sunday?
These are a lot of hypotheticals. I think I would like to. I would like to see. I would like to see when Teddy can practice, which is not up to necessarily us in general, and then. Once that happens, assess the situation, which is there's some compounding variables. I think he does. The one thing I do know is that he will do everything it takes to prepare to play in a football game. Very comfortable with that. You just have to, you have to really do right by the football team and the player, and in terms of whether or not you're putting a player, whether or not he feels comfortable to execute his responsibilities. So that's too early. There's too many hypotheticals for me to even assess that. What I do know is he's a pro, and if and when he's called upon, I know he's going to put his best foot forward for himself and his teammates.
Can you quantify just the level of, I guess you would call it, misfortune to have 3 consecutive games where a quarterback hits his head the same exact way on a hit and is caused to miss time because of it?
Scales. Yeah, it's a weird question for me to ask because I'm not lying. Like, I don't. The adversity is an opportunity is real to me, only because that is life, that is football. So, as opposed to sitting here and saying, "Wow, this is hard," winning's hard. Being in the National Football League, whether you're a coach or a player, is hard. All things that are worth achieving are hard. So, in a odd way, I haven't really. I would. Let's just put it this way. I would feel guilt and feel as though I was shortchanging the Dolphins and the team if I was spending any time thinking about how hard it is. I think you always want your players to be healthy. I think you always make sure that your roster is built so that you have players capable to execute in light of any sort of injury, and you do that the right way. You're confident in all your players, and whatever hand dealt, you have to deal with.
Mike, a couple of your cornerbacks, Xavier and Byron Jones, are you optimistic for this week for them?
I'm again, no setbacks. I'm not sure. I don't expect to see Byron this week. I don't. X had we were happy with where he was at today, and he's a guy that he's fully embraced his captain's role. He takes it very serious, and it pained him to not be on the field with his teammates, much like it did the other three captains that weren't playing, or 2.5, because Armstead dropped. So I know for a fact that he, like the other captains that are on the sidelines, will do everything possible to be ready for Sunday, and we'll see him if he's ready to go.
Mike,
How
are
about
you
Durham Smythe?
Durham's, he's really in the same lump. I guess it's all the true professionals that do things the right way that appear to be getting injured. So he's a guy that I wouldn't count out at all. But it was a serious enough deal for it to be unknown for really his game status. So we'll treat that day by day. It's a real I don't know, crapshoot right now with when it comes to injuries. But what I do, unintended consequence that is a positive, is that I think our team is getting used to not blinking when guys go down. That is a part of our sport, that you don't want people to lose a competitive advantage if you're like, oh, well, we got no chance because this guy's hurt. That is not the mindset of the football team. We have a lot of good football players that can contribute and perform if those guys are unable to come back.
Mike, are you moving forward this week with practices and everything with the assumption that Skylar will be the starter on Sunday?
I'm moving forward to it's too soon for me to really pinpoint that. There's again, I kind of have to wait and assess the whole situation, which I do not have in scope. What I do know is that Skylar will be practicing on Wednesday, and hopefully Wednesday I'll have a better feel of the direction that we should go that's best for the football team.
After watching some of the film from last night, what did you like about what Skylar did?
I really respected the fact of how, being a backup quarterback in this league is not easy. And what people don't understand is you have to have a finite amount of reps during the week, because you can't deplete your athletes and you can't have endless amount of reps. So typically, starters get anywhere from 80 to 100% of the practice reps. So a backup quarterback, especially a rookie, tremendous challenge, because you have to own the whole game plan, visualize it, be able to call it, be able to line people up, and then execute appropriately. I think he was way on top of the game plan in a way that I don't think that typically I'm used to rookies being on top of. And I think he was also frustrated with his play, but confident that it was more of like a frustration in the moment, like my feet are messed up, but that wasn't the right timing. Overall, it's exactly what I thought it would be, where I left the game knowing that the game is not too big for him, and that was probably, if he has if he has any say in it, it was probably the worst that he will feel like he'll perform as a professional, and that was good enough to win. So I was very happy with the player because it takes a lot of prep, and it's a big stage that everyone's not up for.
When you say it's too soon to pinpoint Skylar Thompson if he'll be starting, is that only because of the availability of Tua and Teddy Bridgewater, or does Reed Sinnett factor into that?
Well, you guys didn't bring up Cedric Wilson. No, there's just like too many variables right now for my head to even absorb. I think those decisions are important, and without a shadow of a doubt, I'll make that with the best interest in the football team. But there are literally too many variables that I don't feel comfortable going down that road. But hopefully in the next couple of days I will.
With all those variables, challenging enough coming up with a game plan for a tough opponent, but then you factor in you don't know which quarterback, what does that add relative to the challenge of your install and everything that may go into this week?
It is a nice challenge, but nothing that myself and the rest of the coaching staff isn't paid to do. So, like, that's just kind of how I look at those things. Like, no one really cares how hard it is. You know, you want me to sit up here and be like, man, this is hard. Like, no, it's a different sort of challenge, but every week you're trying to solve challenges. There's always, whether it's what the defense presents, some of the issues, maybe injuries that you have, and then there's some weeks that those are compounding. It's difficult, but nothing that I don't see as part of what I expect from myself and what I expect from the coaching staff. So you don't need to shed any tears for me.
Yesterday you said you were optimistic about Tyreek's status. He obviously was in the boot after the game. Are there any updates on his health kind of going into the week?
He looked pretty good today, but we'll take that day by day. I know he won't, if and when he plays next, he won't play in a boot. I know that much. But he's another one. We have a lot of guys that really care about playing football and take the responsibility, especially the captains that take that responsibility very serious. So, days after games, especially with leg and ankle stuff and feet, typically things are pretty swollen. He felt all right, but, it's going to be with him. He's a fast healer, but you just don't know with those type of things. So we'll, like most of my life right now, we'll take it day by day.
Like a couple of Teddy questions back to him. Number one, I know you guys can send video to the league. Would you send, I don't even know where you would send the video of him allegedly stumbling, but would you send that video to anyone to get a clarification on the rule? And number two, would you send video of the pass interference, the intentional grounding? And is that a requirement? What did you think of that call?
So the two things as far as those procedures go, one, I wouldn't see any reason to send the league a video because it already happened. So, like, am I in the business of grading spotters? No. I mean, it is what it is, and I'm not really concerned with. Again, I would feel irresponsible on my part to, like, no one cares if we think this, that, or the other. Secondly, typically there's a communication system set up by the league with, in regards to penalties, and the way it works is that you have designated coaches each week, and if you have a discrepancy with a call or a question, you submit them in a format that's standardized the day after the game, and they generally get back to you pretty quick. So I'm sure we'll get a clarification on that, but typically I don't really spend my time worrying about past things, whether they're misgivings or whatever they are that are outside of my control. I'm more concerned with doing my job as it relates to the football team, the coaching staff, the players, and the organization, and then preparing our team for the next challenge ahead, which they're 4-1, doing a great job. So we would not be giving ourselves the best chance to compete against them if we did anything otherwise.
You guys.